The repair shop smelled like burning metal and old engine oil. Hyun-sik rolled his wheelchair between the scattered machine parts on the floor. His hands were dirty with grease, but he didn't care. This was his life now. Not the cockpit of a starfighter. Not the rush of flying through enemy fire. Just this small shop on Taejin 7 station, fixing broken things for people who still had working legs. He stopped at his workbench and picked up a small servo motor. It was damaged, probably from a mining drone. Easy fix. He had become good at fixing things. After 5 years, he had no choice. When you can't walk, you learn to sit still and work with your hands. The door hissed open. Hyun-sik didn't look up. Customers came and went. Most didn't talk much. They dropped off their broken equipment and left. That was fine with him. "You fix things." It wasn't a question. The voice was deep and rough, like rocks grinding together. Hyun-sik looked up and froze. A dragon stood in his doorway. Not a human in a costume, a real dragon. She was massive, nearly 3 meters tall, with dark blue scales that caught the station lights. Her eyes were golden and fierce. But something was wrong. Her wings hung limp at her sides, twisted and broken. "Yes," Hyun-sik said slowly. "I fix machines, not wings." The dragon's lips pulled back, showing sharp teeth. It might have been a smile. It might have been a threat. "I know what you are, human. A pilot who can't fly anymore. They told me you were the best before your crash." Hyun-sik felt anger rise in his chest. "Who told you that? Does it matter?" The dragon moved into the shop. She walked with a heavy limp, dragging her damaged wings behind her. "I am Velkara. I was a mercenary. I flew combat missions for 12 years. Then I made one mistake." She turned, showing her back. Hyun-sik could see the damage clearly now. Her wings were shredded, bones broken, and healed wrong. They would never carry her again. "So we're both grounded," Velkara said. Her voice was bitter. "Except you were always meant to be on the ground. Your species never had wings. You had to build machines to pretend you could fly." Hyun-sik's jaw tightened. "Get out of my shop." "No." Velkara picked up a piece of machinery from his bench. Her claws could have crushed it easily, but she held it gently. "I heard humans are good at solving impossible problems. That's what they say across the galaxy. Humans find ways when there are no ways. I don't help people who insult my species." Velkara set down the machine part. She looked at him directly. "You're right. I'm sorry. Pain makes me cruel. I've been grounded for 6 months. Do you know what that's like for a dragon? We are meant to fly. It's in our blood, our bones, our souls. Being on the ground is like being dead." Hyun-sik did know. He knew exactly what that felt like. After his crash, he had spent months wanting to die. The doctors had saved his life, but not his legs. The spinal damage was too severe. No medicine could fix it. He would never walk again, never fly again. "What do you want from me?" he asked. "I see those." Velkara pointed to the corner of the shop. There, covered with a dirty cloth, were the pieces of an exoskeleton. Hyun-sik had been building it for 3 years. Mechanical legs that connected to his spine through neural interfaces. He could walk with them, maybe even run. But he had never finished the project. Something always stopped him. "That's not for sale. I don't want to buy it. I want you to build something for me, for us." Velkara's golden eyes were intense. "Build something that lets broken things fly again." Hyun-sik laughed. It was a harsh sound. "You think I haven't tried? I've spent 5 years building mechanical systems. Nothing works for organic wings. The neural connections are too complex. The weight distribution is impossible. Dragons are too heavy for artificial flight systems." "Your species went to space in metal boxes," Velkara said. "You had no wings, no scales, no natural weapons, just soft skin and fragile bones. Yet you conquered the stars. You found ways." She leaned forward. "Find a way for this. Before Hyun-sik could answer, alarms blared through the station. Red lights flashed. The station's emergency system crackled to life. All residents, take shelter. Hostile ships detected. Raiders approaching. This is not a drill. Velkara's head snapped toward the door. Her muscles tensed. Hyun-sik could see the warrior in her, ready to fight. But then her shoulders slumped. Without her wings, she was just another ground-bound creature. "I should go to the shelters," she said quietly. "Wait." Hyun-sik rolled to a panel on the wall. He pressed several buttons. A section of his workbench slid away, revealing hidden compartments. Inside were weapons, not the kind sold in stores, military grade, illegal on civilian stations. "You were a soldier," Velkara said. "Combat pilot? Fighter squadron?" Hyun-sik pulled out a plasma rifle and checked its charge. "I still have the instincts, and I still have my security clearance from the war." He tapped a button on his wheelchair. The sides unfolded, revealing mounted guns and shield generators. "My chair isn't just for moving around." Velkara's eyes widened. "You turned your wheelchair into a weapon." "I'm human," Hyun-sik said. "We adapt. Now can you still fight on the ground, or are you useless without your wings?" The dragon's lips pulled back in a real smile this time, sharp and dangerous. "I can fight, human. I may not fly, but my claws still work. My fire still burns." "Good." Hyun-sik rolled toward the door. "The medical wing is on level 3. My daughter Ji-woo works there. If raiders reach that section, civilians will die." "Your daughter?" "She's a nurse. Stubborn like her father. Refused to evacuate to a safer station after my accident." Hyun-sik's voice was tight. "I won't let raiders hurt her." Velkara followed him into the corridor. Station residents were running toward shelters. Some screamed, others helped the elderly and children. The alarm kept blaring. "Why are you helping me?" Velkara asked as they moved through the chaos. Hyun-sik didn't look back. "Because you're right. We're both grounded, both broken. But maybe broken things can still be dangerous." They reached the elevator. Hyun-sik pressed the button for level 3. As the doors closed, he saw the dragon's reflection in the metal. She stood tall despite her ruined wings, pride and pain mixed in her golden eyes. The elevator climbed. Both of them prepared for war. A human who couldn't walk, a dragon who couldn't fly. Two warriors who refused to be helpless. The fight was coming, and they would face it together. The elevator doors opened to chaos. People were running everywhere. Smoke filled the air. Somewhere close, someone was screaming. Hyun-sik heard the sound of weapons fire echoing through the corridors. "They're already here," Velkara growled. Her claws extended, scraping against the metal floor. Hyun-sik activated his wheelchair's combat mode. The mounted guns powered up with a soft hum. His hands moved over the controls with practiced ease. Muscle memory from years of flying starfighters. Different vehicle, same instincts. "Medical wing is straight ahead, 200 meters, he said. "Stay low. Use the walls for cover." They moved forward. Hyun-sik kept his wheelchair close to the right wall. Velkara took the left side. She moved quietly despite her size. A predator, even on the ground. The first raider appeared around the corner. He wore armor covered in rust and dents. His weapon was pointed at a group of civilians huddled against the wall. He didn't see Hyun-sik and Velkara until it was too late. Hyun-sik fired. The plasma bolt hit the raider's shoulder, spinning him around. Velkara was already moving. She crossed the distance in 3 powerful strides. Her claws raked across the raider's chest. He went down hard. "Keep moving," Hyun-sik ordered. They passed the civilians. A woman was crying, holding 2 small children. Hyun-sik pointed back toward the elevator. "Shelters on level 1. Go now." The woman nodded and ran, pulling her children with her. More raiders ahead. 4 of them, trying to break through the medical wing's security door. They had cutting torches and explosives. Inside, Hyun-sik could see people pressed against the windows. His daughter was in there. Ji-woo's dark hair and determined face visible through the reinforced glass. Too many, Velkara said. No such thing. Hyun-sik's fingers danced over his controls. I'm going to draw their attention. When they focus on me, you hit them from the side. That's suicide. That's tactics, he smiled grimly. Watch a human work. Hyun-sik rolled into the open. His wheelchair's guns fired in controlled bursts. The raiders scattered, diving for cover. They returned fire, plasma bolts scorching the air around him. His shields flared, absorbing most of the impacts. Then Velkara struck. She came from the side corridor like a blue storm. Fire erupted from her mouth, not a massive blast, but a focused stream. It caught two raiders before they could turn. They screamed and fell. The other two tried to run. Velkara's tail swept their legs out from under them. Her claws finished the job. Silence fell. Smoke drifted through the corridor. Bodies lay scattered. The medical wing door opened. Ji-woo rushed out, her nurse's uniform splattered with someone else's blood. Dad! She ran to him, then stopped. Her eyes went to Velkara. Is that a dragon? Yes, she's helping. Hyun-sik checked his wheelchair systems. Shields were down to 40%. One gun was overheating. Are you hurt? No. We have wounded inside. 3 guards and 2 civilians. We need to get them to the main hospital, but the raiders control that section. Velkara was breathing hard. Fire breathing took effort even for dragons. She leaned against the wall, her ruined wings dragging on the floor. How many raiders? Hyun-sik asked. Station security reported at least 20, maybe more. Ji-woo looked at her father with worried eyes. You can't fight them all. We don't have to fight them all. Just hold this position until security reinforcements arrive. He glanced at Velkara. Can you keep going? The dragon straightened, pride flashing in her golden eyes. I fought in wars before you humans even left your planet. I can handle a few raiders. Humans left our planet 200 years ago, Hyun-sik said mildly. Velkara blinked. Wait, really? That recently? Really. The dragon sat down heavily. I thought you were ancient spacefaring species, like the Cortesh or the Viridians. You're children in the galaxy. Children who learned to fight. Hyun-sik reloaded his weapons. Ji-woo, get back inside. Lock the door. Don't open it unless you hear my voice. His daughter hesitated, then nodded. She disappeared back into the medical wing. The security door sealed behind her. Velkara was still staring at him. 200 years. You conquered space in 200 years. We didn't conquer it. We just refused to stay on the ground. Hyun-sik positioned his wheelchair to cover the main corridor. My species doesn't like being told what we can't do. I noticed. They waited. Minutes passed. The station's alarms kept blaring. Distant sounds of fighting echoed through the ventilation system. Why do you fight? Velkara asked suddenly. You're crippled. You could have stayed in your shop. Let others handle the danger. Hyun-sik's jaw tightened. My daughter is here. More than that. I see it in your eyes. You want to fight, need to fight. He was quiet for a moment. When I lost my legs, I lost who I was. I was a pilot, the best in my squadron. Then one mission went wrong. Enemy fire. My ship crashed. I woke up in a hospital, and they told me I would never walk again, never fly again. His hands gripped the wheelchair's controls. I wanted to die. Velkara's expression softened. But you didn't. No, because my daughter needed me, because my species doesn't give up. He looked at the dragon. We're not the strongest, not the fastest. We don't have scales or claws or wings, but we're stubborn. We adapt. We find ways to survive. Tell me more, Velkara said, about your species' history. Hyun-sik frowned. Why? We're in the middle of a battle. Humor me. Keep my mind off my useless wings. He sighed. Fine. You want history? Humans evolved on a death world. Everything on Earth tried to kill us. Big predators with teeth and claws, diseases, weather that could freeze or cook you. We had nothing but our brains and our hands. Yet you survived. We did more than survive. We learned to make tools, simple ones at first, rocks to break things, sticks to reach things. Then we got better. We made fire, weapons, shelters. We spread across our entire planet. Hyun-sik's voice grew stronger. Other species were born with advantages. We had to create ours. Every generation we improved, built on what came before. That's why you're called the toolmaker species, Velkara said. Some call us that. Others call us the stubborn species, the ones who don't know when to quit. He smiled slightly. Both are true. Footsteps echoed from ahead. Multiple raiders were coming. Hyun-sik counted at least 6 from the sound. Get ready, he said. Velkara stood. She flexed her claws. I still don't understand. You had no natural weapons. How did you become warriors? Because we had to. Hyun-sik's guns powered up. Survival isn't about what you're born with. It's about what you're willing to do. The raiders appeared. This time they were ready. They had shields and heavy weapons. They advanced in formation, professional and dangerous. Hyun-sik and Velkara fought side by side. His wheelchair's guns provided covering fire while she used her physical strength to break their formation. It wasn't elegant, it wasn't perfect, but it worked. When the fight ended, both were wounded. Hyun-sik's wheelchair sparked and smoked. One of its wheels was damaged. Velkara had plasma burns across her scales and a deep cut on her shoulder. But they had won. The medical wing was safe. Station security finally arrived. They secured the area and started cleaning up. The raiders were defeated or captured. The threat was over. Ji-woo came out and immediately started treating Velkara's wounds. The dragon sat still, watching the human nurse work. Your father is remarkable, Velkara said quietly. I know, Ji-woo replied. He's too stubborn to let something like broken legs stop him. It runs in your species. It does. Hyun-sik watched them. His wheelchair was barely functional, but he was alive. They were all alive. Velkara caught his eye. Something had changed in her expression. The mockery was gone. The bitterness, too. In its place was something else. Respect. Tell me more about humans, she said. Tell me about your solutions to impossible problems. 3 weeks had passed since the raider attack. Hyun-sik's shop was busy now. Station security wanted their equipment upgraded. They had seen what his wheelchair could do. They wanted similar systems for their vehicles and armor. Velkara came every day. At first, she said it was because she had nowhere else to go. The station's temporary housing was full of refugees from other sectors. But Hyun-sik knew the truth. She came because she was curious. Show me again, she said, watching him work on a neural interface chip. How does it connect to your spine? Hyun-sik held up the tiny device. See these contacts? They link to my nervous system. My brain sends signals to move my legs. The signals travel down my spine but stop at the damage. This chip intercepts those signals and redirects them. To what? To whatever I want. My wheelchair, an exoskeleton, any machine with a compatible receiver. He set down the chip. It took me 2 years to design, another year to implant safely. The surgery almost killed me. Velkara's claws traced the edge of his workbench. Could it work for wings? I don't know. Dragon physiology is different. Your neural pathways are more complex than ours. Your flight instincts are hardwired into your brain. He paused. But maybe, if we could map your neural patterns and create a compatible interface. You've thought about this. Since you first came to my shop. Hyun-sik rolled to the corner where the exoskeleton parts were stored. He pulled away the cloth completely. I've been building this for myself. Legs that would let me walk again. But I never finished them. Why not? He was quiet for a long moment. Fear. What if I built them and they didn't work? What if I could walk but not run? What if I was still broken, just in a different way? He looked at his hands. It's easier to accept limitations than to risk failure. Velkara understood. She felt the same way about her wings. The hope that she might fly again was painful. It was safer to accept being grounded forever. "But you're thinking about it now," she said. "Yes." Hyun-sik pulled out a data pad. On the screen were dozens of technical drawings. Wings. Mechanical wings with neural interfaces. "I started designing these the day after the attack. I watched you fight. You're powerful on the ground, but I saw the way you kept looking at the ceiling. You wanted to be higher, to dive from above, to use 3 dimensions instead of 2. Every instinct screamed at me to take flight," Velkara admitted. "It was like fighting with one arm tied. Wrong. Incomplete. These won't be your original wings." He zoomed in on a design. "They'll be mechanical, probably heavier. The flight characteristics will be different. You'll need to relearn everything." "But I would fly." "Maybe. The power requirements are massive. Your body weight is over 400 kilograms. Generating enough lift for sustained flight means either huge wings or anti-gravity assist systems." He swiped through more designs. "I've been running simulations. The best option combines both. Large mechanical wings with micro anti-gravity generators built into the structure." Velkara leaned closer, studying the designs. "You've put a lot of work into this. It's what humans do. We see a problem, we work on solutions." He looked up at her. "But I need your help. I need to understand how dragonflight works, the mechanics, the neural patterns, everything." "No one has ever studied that," Velkara said. "Dragons just know how to fly. It's instinct." "Then we'll figure it out together." Hyun-sik's eyes were bright with determination. "You let me map your brain activity while you think about flying. I'll analyze the data and create an interface that matches your neural patterns. And if it doesn't work, then we try again and again, until it does, or until we've exhausted every possibility." He smiled. "I told you. Humans don't quit." Over the next weeks, they worked together. Velkara lay in a medical scanner while Hyun-sik recorded her brain activity. He asked her to imagine flying, to remember battles in the air, to think about wind currents and aerial maneuvers. The data was incredible. Dragon brains were wired completely differently from human brains. Their spatial awareness was 3-dimensional in ways humans couldn't naturally comprehend. They processed wind, temperature, and air pressure constantly, adjusting their flight without conscious thought. "Your species is amazing," Hyun-sik said one day, reviewing the scans. "You're born with abilities humans could never naturally have." "Yet humans conquered the stars anyway," Velkara pointed out. "Because we build tools. We make up for what we lack." He highlighted a section of the brain scan. "This part here controls your wing movements. If I can create an interface that connects to these neural clusters, the mechanical wings should respond like natural ones." "Should. Nothing is certain, but the theory is sound." He pulled up a new design. "I've been working on the wing structure. Carbon fiber frame with adaptive materials. They'll flex and adjust like real wings. The anti-gravity generators will handle most of the weight, but the wings themselves will provide control and maneuverability." Velkara studied the design carefully. "How long to build them?" 3 months, maybe 4. I need specialized materials. Some of the components have to be custom-made." He looked at her seriously. "And I need to test the neural interface first. On myself." "What?" "My exoskeleton legs use similar technology. If I can finish them and make them work, it proves the neural interface concept. Then we can adapt it for your wings." Hyun-sik rolled to the exoskeleton frame. "I've been avoiding this for 5 years. Time to stop being afraid." Jiwoo arrived at the shop after her shift at the medical wing. She saw the exoskeleton legs laid out on the workbench and understood immediately. "Dad, you're actually going to do it?" "Yes. The surgery is dangerous. The interface could reject. You could lose more neural function." She listed the risks like she was reading from a medical textbook. "I know the risks." Hyun-sik's voice was firm. "But I can't ask Velkara to risk her life on untested technology unless I'm willing to risk mine first." Jiwoo looked at the dragon, then back at her father. "You've changed. Both of you. Before the attack, you barely left this shop. Now you're planning experimental surgery." "Before I was just surviving," Hyun-sik said. "Now I remember what it's like to have a purpose." The surgery took place in the medical wing. Jiwoo assisted, along with the station's chief surgeon. They removed Hyun-sik's old neural implant and installed the new one. This version was more complex, with multiple connection points and enhanced processing power. Velkara waited outside. She paced the corridor, her damaged wings dragging behind her. Other station residents gave her wide space. Dragons made most species nervous. Hours passed. Finally, the surgery room doors opened. Jiwoo came out first. Her face was tired but smiling. "He's awake. The implant is functioning." Velkara rushed inside. Hyun-sik lay on the medical bed looking pale and exhausted, but his eyes were alert. Next to the bed stood the exoskeleton legs, powered and ready. "Help me up," he said. Jiwoo and a nurse supported him as he sat up. The exoskeleton legs were brought closer. They attached to his waist and thighs with secure harnesses. The neural interface connection clicked into place. Hyun-sik closed his eyes, concentrated, sent the signal to walk. The mechanical legs moved. Servos whirred. Joints flexed. He stood for the first time in 5 years. The legs shook. He was unsteady like a newborn learning to walk. But he was standing, supporting his own weight. "It works," he whispered. Tears ran down his face. "It actually works." He took one step, then another. The movements were jerky and awkward, but they were his movements. His brain was controlling the legs directly. Velkara watched in amazement. "You're walking." "Not well, but yes." Hyun-sik looked at her. His eyes were bright with hope and determination. "If this works, your wings will work too. I promise you, Velkara, you're going to fly again." The dragon felt something she hadn't felt in months. Not just hope, belief. This human had turned his wheelchair into a weapon, had defended an entire medical wing while paralyzed, had designed and built mechanical legs that actually worked. If anyone could give her back the sky, it was Hyun-sik. "Then let's start building," she said. The wings took 4 months to complete. Every piece was crafted with precision. Carbon fiber bones, synthetic membrane stretched over adaptive frames, micro anti-gravity generators hidden in the structure, and at the base, the neural interface that would connect directly to Velkara's spine. Hyun-sik had learned to walk in those 4 months. Not perfectly. He still stumbled sometimes. The exoskeleton legs were powerful but required constant mental focus. Every step was a conscious decision. But he could stand. He could move without his wheelchair. For the first time in 5 years, he looked people in the eye at their height, not from below. "Ready?" he asked Velkara. The dragon stared at the mechanical wings laid out on the workshop floor. They were beautiful in their own way. Not like her original wings, but elegant, deadly. Each wing spanned 4 meters when fully extended. The metal framework gleamed under the shop lights. "What if they don't work?" she asked quietly. "Then we adjust them and try again." Hyun-sik walked over to her. His exoskeleton legs hissed softly with each step. "I fell 17 times when I first started walking. I'll probably fall 17 more times this week. But I'm walking. You'll fly, even if it takes 100 attempts." The surgery was more complex than Hyun-sik's had been. Dragon physiology made everything harder. The surgeons had to remove what remained of Velkara's damaged wings, the broken bones and torn membranes that had caused her so much pain. Then they installed the neural interface directly into her spine, connecting to the flight centers of her brain, the mechanical wings attached to a harness built into her shoulders and back. The connection was permanent. Once installed, removing them would require another major surgery. Velkara woke up in the medical wing. The ceiling was white and sterile. She tried to move and felt weight on her back. The wings. They were attached now. Jiwoo was there, checking monitors. "Don't try to move yet. Your body needs time to adjust." "Can I feel them?" "The neural connection is active. Try thinking about moving your wings. Gently." Velkara concentrated, sent the signal she had sent 1,000,000 times before. The signal that said, "Wings, extend." The mechanical wings moved. Not much, just a small shift, but they moved. She started crying. Dragons didn't cry often, but she couldn't stop the tears. After 6 months of being grounded, her wings responded again. Recovery took 2 weeks. Velkara had to relearn everything. The mechanical wings were heavier than her original ones. They responded differently. But slowly, she adapted. Her brain formed new pathways. The wings became part of her. Hyun-sik was there every day. He helped her with physical therapy, taught her how to maintain the mechanical systems. They worked together in the station's cargo bay, where the ceiling was high enough for her to spread her wings fully. "Don't think about flying yet," Hyun-sik advised. "First, just get comfortable with the weight, with the movements." Velkara extended her wings. The servos hummed. The anti-gravity generators created a subtle upward pull. She flapped once. Air rushed around her. "Again," Hyun-sik said. "Build the muscle memory." She flapped again. And again. Each movement felt more natural. Her dragon instincts started integrating with the mechanical systems. The wings weren't her original ones, but they were hers. 3 weeks after the surgery, she was ready to try actual flight. They chose early morning when the cargo bay was empty. Station security had cleared the area. Jiwoo was there with medical equipment, just in case. Hyun-sik stood at the edge of the bay, his hand on a remote control that could shut down the wing systems if something went wrong. "Remember," he said, "the anti-gravity generators will handle most of your weight. The wings are for control and maneuverability. Don't fight them. Let them work with you." Velkara stood in the center of the bay. Her mechanical wings spread wide. She closed her eyes and focused, felt the connection between her brain and the wings, sent the signal. "Fly." The anti-gravity generators powered up, the wings beat downward with powerful strokes. And Velkara lifted off the ground. She rose slowly at first. 1 meter, 2 meters, 3. Her wings found their rhythm. The mechanical systems integrated perfectly with her neural patterns. She was flying. "Control your breathing," Hyun-sik called out. "Don't overexert." Velkara circled the cargo bay. The flight wasn't graceful yet. She wobbled and dipped, but she was airborne. After 6 months on the ground, she was back in the air. She landed roughly, stumbling on the deck, but she was laughing. Deep, rumbling dragon laughter that echoed through the bay. "It works!" she roared. "Hyun-sik! It works!" He was smiling, too. "How does it feel?" "Different, strange, but it's flight. Real flight." She folded her wings carefully. "You gave me back the sky. You're not done yet. You need to practice. Build your strength. Learn the new flight characteristics." But his voice was full of pride. They worked together every day after that. Velkara's flight improved rapidly. Her warrior instincts returned. She practiced aerial maneuvers, diving attacks, evasive rolls. The mechanical wings proved incredibly versatile, more maneuverable than natural dragon wings in some ways, though they lacked the raw power. Then, 2 months after her first flight, the alarm sounded again. Hyun-sik was in his shop when the emergency broadcast came through. Pirates. a whole fleet this time, attacking the station in force. Station security was overwhelmed. He grabbed his weapons and headed for the door. His exoskeleton legs carried him quickly through the corridors. He reached the medical wing just as the first explosions rocked the station. Ji-woo was inside, helping evacuate patients. "Dad, you need to get to a shelter." "Not yet. Where are the pirates attacking?" "Everywhere. They're hitting multiple sections simultaneously. Security can't cover it all." She looked terrified. "They're coming for the medical wing. They want hostages." Hyun-sik checked his weapons. His old plasma rifle, the backup pistol, 2 grenades, not enough for what was coming. Then Velkara dropped from above. She had been patrolling the upper levels when the attack began. Her mechanical wings were scorched and dented. She had already been fighting. 20 pirates heading this way, she reported. Armed with heavy weapons, they're cutting through security like paper. "We can't stop 20, Hyun-sik said grimly. "You stopped them before." "That was different. We had surprise. They're ready for a fight now." He thought quickly. "We need to slow them down. Buy time for reinforcements." "How?" Hyun-sik looked at the ceiling, at the ventilation shafts, at the corridor layout. His tactical mind was racing. "You can fly now," he said slowly. "They can't. That's our advantage." "Explain." "I'll draw them into the cargo bay. Wide open space, high ceiling. You attack from above. Classic aerial combat tactics." He met her golden eyes. "Think you can handle it?" Velkara's lips pulled back in a fierce smile. "I was born for aerial combat. Let's show these pirates what a dragon can do." They moved into position. Hyun-sik headed for the cargo bay, leaving a trail of noise and activity, making sure the pirates would follow. Velkara took a different route, climbing to the upper levels where she could enter the bay from above. The pirates came, all 20 of them. They poured into the cargo bay, weapons ready. They saw Hyun-sik standing alone in the center, an easy target. Then Velkara struck from above. She dove like a missile. Her mechanical wings folded tight against her body for maximum speed. At the last second, she spread them wide and opened her mouth. Fire erupted in a wide arc. The pirates scattered in panic. They had expected ground combat, not an aerial assault. Hyun-sik opened fire from below. His plasma rifle picked off targets while they were distracted. The pirates tried to return fire, but Velkara was too fast. She swooped and dove. Her talons raked across armor. Her tail whipped through the air. She was magnificent. Together, they turned the battle into a slaughter. The pirates never stood a chance against a dragon who could fly and a human who refused to quit. When it was over, both stood among the defeated enemies. Velkara landed next to Hyun-sik. Her mechanical wings were damaged but still functional. "We make a good team," she said. "Yes," Hyun-sik agreed. "We do." Station security arrived to clean up. The pirate fleet was driven off. The station was safe again. But something had changed. Word spread quickly through the station about the dragon with mechanical wings, about the human who had built them, about what they had done together. Other dragons started arriving. Dragons who had lost their wings in battles or accidents, dragons who had been grounded and hopeless. They wanted what Velkara had. They wanted to fly again. And a human veteran who couldn't walk had shown them it was possible. 6 months after Velkara's first flight, Hyun-sik's shop had transformed into something much larger. The station had given him an entire section of the industrial district. What had been a small repair shop was now a full facility with surgical suites, engineering bays, and flight testing areas. 12 dragons had received mechanical wings so far. Each one was custom-built for the individual dragon's physiology and neural patterns. No 2 sets of wings were exactly alike. Hyun-sik had trained a team of engineers and surgeons to help with the work, but he personally oversaw every procedure. Ji-woo had left the medical wing to work full-time at the new facility. She handled the medical side while Hyun-sik focused on engineering. Together, they had created something remarkable. They called it the Grounded Wings Initiative. News spread throughout the galaxy. Dragons came from distant star systems. Some had been grounded for years, decades. They had given up hope of ever flying again. Then they heard about the human who gave wings back to dragons. Not everyone was happy about it. A delegation of traditional dragons arrived one day. They were elders from the Dragon Council, powerful and ancient. They stood in Hyun-sik's facility with expressions of disgust. "This is wrong," their leader said. His name was Vorthax, and his scales were deep crimson. "You are corrupting our kind, making them dependent on human technology. Machines are not wings." Hyun-sik stood before them in his exoskeleton legs. "These dragons were already grounded. I gave them back something they had lost. You gave them a pale imitation, a mockery of true flight." Vorthax's voice was filled with contempt. "Dragons should accept their fate with dignity, not debase themselves with artificial wings." Velkara stepped forward. Her mechanical wings gleamed in the facility lights. "I fought for 12 years before I was grounded. When my wings were destroyed, I wanted to die. I had lost everything that made me who I was." She looked at Vorthax directly. "These wings gave me back my life, my purpose. Would you prefer I had killed myself instead?" "I would prefer you had accepted your new life on the ground, found honor in other ways." "There is no honor in being helpless," Velkara said coldly. "I am a warrior. I need to fly to fight. These wings let me do that." Another elder spoke up. "What happens when your mechanical wings fail? When the human technology breaks down, you will fall from the sky and die." "Then I die flying," Velkara said. "Better than dying slowly on the ground." Hyun-sik interrupted. "The wings are built to last. Redundant systems, self-repair capabilities, safety protocols that activate if there's a malfunction." He pulled up technical displays. "I've spent months making them as reliable as possible." "Nothing made by hands is as reliable as what is born naturally," Vorthax said. "Natural wings can be damaged too, destroyed in battle or accidents. That's why your kind are here." Hyun-sik's voice was firm. "I'm not replacing natural wings. I'm giving back what was lost." The delegation left without agreement. But they didn't try to stop the work either. They knew that if they banned the mechanical wings, dragons would simply go elsewhere. The demand was too great. More dragons came. The facility expanded again. Hyun-sik hired more staff. The Grounded Wings Initiative became known across the galaxy, but Hyun-sik was still limited by his own condition. He could walk with the exoskeleton legs, but he couldn't run, couldn't jump, and he certainly couldn't fly. Velkara noticed. She watched him work, saw the way he sometimes looked at the dragons testing their new wings, the longing in his eyes. "You want to fly again?" she said one evening. They were alone in the facility. The other staff had gone home. "I was a pilot," Hyun-sik said quietly. "Flying was my life, my passion. I miss it every day." "Then build yourself wings." He laughed bitterly. "Humans don't have the body structure for wings, even mechanical ones. We're the wrong shape. Too heavy, no instincts for flight. You gave me wings when everyone said it was impossible. You solved problems no one else could solve." Velkara spread her mechanical wings. "Solve this problem. It's different." "Why?" Hyun-sik didn't have a good answer. He had been so focused on helping dragons that he hadn't considered helping himself. The idea seemed impossible, but hadn't everything else seemed impossible too? He started designing that night. Human flight was different from dragon flight. Dragons had the instincts, the body structure, the neural pathways designed for aerial movement. Humans had none of that, but humans had something else. They had technology, and they had determination. Hyun-sik designed a full flight suit, not wings attached to his body, but a complete exoskeleton that would let a human fly. Anti-gravity generators to handle weight, mechanical wings for control, jet boosters for speed, neural interface to connect it all to his brain. It took 3 months to build. Ji-Woo thought he was crazy. The other engineers said it couldn't work. Humans weren't meant to fly. But Velkara believed in him, just as he had believed in her. The test flight took place in the largest cargo bay on the station. Every dragon from the facility was there to watch. Hundreds of station residents came too. Word had spread. The human who gave dragons wings was going to fly himself. Hyun-sik stood in the center of the bay wearing the flight suit. It covered his entire body, a sleek design that combined his exoskeleton legs with the wing system and anti-gravity generators. The mechanical wings were smaller than dragon wings, but more complex. They could adjust their shape and angle in dozens of different ways. "Ready?" Ji-Woo asked over the comm system. "Ready?" Hyun-sik confirmed. He activated the systems. The anti-gravity generators hummed to life. The wings extended with a mechanical whisper. He closed his eyes and sent the signal his brain had sent thousands of times before, back when he flew starfighters. Fly. He lifted off the ground. It was shaky at first. His human instincts fought against the sensation, but his pilot training took over. He understood aerodynamics. He knew how to read air currents and adjust for them. The neural interface translated his intentions into wing movements. Hyun-sik flew, not gracefully, not perfectly, but he flew. The crowd erupted in cheers. Dragons roared approval. Humans shouted in amazement. He circled the cargo bay slowly, gaining confidence. The flight suit responded to his thoughts. Banking, diving, rising. All the movements he had performed in starfighters, now done with artificial wings. He landed after 5 minutes. His legs were shaking. The neural strain was immense, but he was grinning wider than he had in years. Velkara landed beside him. "How did it feel?" "Like coming home," Hyun-sik said. Word of the human flight suit spread even faster than the dragon wings had. Suddenly, humans who had lost their mobility wanted the technology. Pilots who had been grounded by injuries, soldiers who had lost limbs, ordinary people who just wanted to fly. The Grounded Wings initiative became something bigger. It wasn't just about dragons anymore. It was about giving people back what they had lost, about refusing to accept limitations. Hyun-sik and Velkara became partners in a growing enterprise. They opened facilities on other stations, trained more engineers and surgeons, developed new technologies. The mechanical wings improved with each generation. Lighter, more powerful, more responsive. Other species joined them. Avian races who had lost the ability to fly. Aquatic species who wanted to move on land. The technology expanded beyond flight. It became about adaptation, about overcoming disabilities, about refusing to let injury define you. 5 years after Velkara first walked into his shop, Hyun-sik stood on a stage at a galactic technology conference. Velkara stood beside him, her mechanical wings gleaming. Hundreds of different species filled the auditorium. "People ask me why humans are so good at solving problems," Hyun-sik said. His voice was steady, confident. "They ask what makes us special. The truth is, we're not special. We're just stubborn." Laughter rippled through the audience. "We evolved on a planet that tried to kill us. We had no claws, no armor, no natural weapons. We were prey animals, weak and fragile." He looked out at the crowd. "But we survived. We learned to make tools, to build things that made us stronger, to adapt." He activated his flight suit. The wings extended. "We were never meant to fly. We looked at the sky and said, why not? We built machines, learned aerodynamics, mastered gravity." He lifted off the stage, hovering in the air. "And now, humans fly across the galaxy." Velkara spread her wings and joined him in the air. "This dragon lost her wings in battle," Hyun-sik continued. "Everyone told her she would never fly again. But we didn't accept that. We found a way. Together. They flew over the audience, demonstrating perfect coordination. Human and dragon. Technology and biology. Impossible made real. The Grounded Wings initiative exists because we believe something simple, Hyun-sik said as they landed. Limitations are just problems we haven't solved yet. Disabilities are challenges, not endings. And there is no such thing as impossible, just not yet. The audience erupted in applause. It went on for several minutes. After the conference, Hyun-sik and Velkara stood outside, watching ships come and go from the orbital station. "You changed my life," Velkara said quietly. "When I came to your shop, I was broken, ready to give up. You showed me that being grounded didn't mean being helpless." "You changed mine too," Hyun-sik replied. "You reminded me that just because I couldn't walk didn't mean I had to stop fighting, stop building, stop dreaming." A ship passed overhead, leaving a bright trail across the stars. "What's next?" Velkara asked. Hyun-sik smiled. "Everything. We've proven mechanical wings work. Now we expand. Better interfaces, more applications. We help anyone who needs it." He looked at her. "We show the galaxy what's possible when you refuse to quit." Velkara spread her wings wide. Hyun-sik activated his flight suit. Together they launched into the sky. Two warriors who had been broken, who had been told they would never fly again, who had proven everyone wrong. A human who couldn't walk had helped a dragon who couldn't fly, and together they had changed the galaxy forever. Because that's what humans did. They saw impossible problems and found impossible solutions. They adapted, they built, they overcame. They refused to stay grounded. And now, neither would anyone else.